Hello, welcome to today's episode. Let me know if you can hear me. I don't see anything happening on my mic, so I'm not sure. Let's see. Hello. Let's. Oh, hey, I'm so happy you're here. Thank you so much. Hi, Irene. Oh, good to see you. Can you hear me? So glad to see you. Good. Can you hear me though? Let me ask here. Aw, Sarah, thank you. I wish you were here. You're breaking up a little. Okay. I'm gonna change my network. Let's see. Change to All right, how about now? Okay, loud and clear. Perfect. I have so much I'm looking forward to telling you all today. Um, I really wish I could invite people on to like chat with me, but just keep this chat thing going and I will be checking in so this can feel a little bit more interactive because as Jupiter moves into Aries, I don't know about you guys, but I definitely have been feeling more interactive. Maybe isn't the exact right word, but something like that. So let me just give a brief overview of what we're going to talk about. Really want to look just briefly, pulling weed in the rain while we do this. Okay. Feeling refreshed for this season. Thank you, Sarah. I really want to share with you a little bit about the astrology of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I have not been following, I had a client today who I saw who she said she's been watching the trial, like that's all she's been doing all week. I have not because my bottom line feeling about stuff on TV is that while it can help us to understand more about ourselves in relation to the rest of the world, and there's always something astrological about what's happening in the news and in the what do you call headlines. There's always something astrological that we can find in that. I feel like it is just really a distraction from exactly, Irene. I got bigger fish to fry. So it is a lot of a distraction, and there's always something that it's like when you're I don't read novels, and nothing against people who do. It's just not something that I do. I don't watch movie series like King of Thrones, and I'm not into that stuff. I'm not against it, but I'm also like Irene, I got bigger fish to fry. So, okay, those things like series, things that are happening on the media, there is always an archetypal thread that we can follow in these things, which I do like that part. I really enjoy that part. So I do want to just share a snippet about their astrology charts, what phases that they are in astrologically, like the life phase that they're in, because that can give us some clues about what that phase is about. Like I like that. So we'll look at that. And then I also want to relate what's happening in the sky currently with Venus and Mars to the saga of what is being televised in that relationship between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Ugh. Just like it's so weird how we get so like fascinated with people's situations, and my takeaway after listening to somebody talk about it all day, or like for pretty 90-minute session I had with her, and we talked about it for probably a good hour. My takeaway was like how easy it is for us to get caught up in polarity and to like make somebody the victim perpetrator thing where we're like, this person's wrong and bad and this person's right and good, and we kind of have to pick sides. It feels like that's not really true. We don't have to pick sides, but that feeling comes up. Okay, so for today's astrology, today we have the moon in Pisces. I always start the astrology with the moon because the moon is our fundamental guiding light from within. So the moon is like, we see the moon. We've been tracking the moon and it radiates that the rest of the conversation of the planets straight into our emotional waters. So moon today is in Pisces. Late tonight into early tomorrow morning, we will be having a moon Neptune conjunction. This moon Neptune conjunction is really helpful for sort of feeling into the visions and dreams that we're having for our lives. And this is really important at this time because I don't know about you, but when we had the Neptune Jupiter conjunction back in April, I think it was April 12th, and then Venus made a conjunction with Neptune on April 27th. And there was this big ball rolling of like, what are my dreams? What are my visions? And then nothing really happened, like those conjunctions came and went, nothing really happened. And I'm reminded about today, as the moon is in Pisces, I'm reminded of a teaching that I had with a shamanic practitioner who I worked with for 2 years, where she told me that some of these things that we are cultivating in our life, we may never see the fruit. So it's like if I plant an oak tree, I may never be able to harvest oak from that seed that I've planted. And again, maybe I planted a papaya tree and it's going to take me 2 years to be able to harvest the fruit from that seed that I planted. So as the moon comes back into Pisces and makes that conjunction again with Neptune, tomorrow morning at about 5:30 in the morning, we'll see moon and Neptune conjunct again. Or, kind of reiterating, what is your vision? What is your dream? What are the dream seeds that you're planting? This becomes very important as Jupiter is in Aries and as Mars will be joining Aries on the 25th, I believe. Let me see. Mars enters Aries on the 24th. Okay, so that's tomorrow. Yeah, that's tomorrow. Okay, so what else do we have going on? We've got Mercury retrograde. There is a lot of harmonious aspects happening today. And there's a lot of harmonious aspects happening this week. I'm just going to have a peek at this chart. So this for today. And I showed this chart in the Telegram group. I don't think I posted to my YouTube page this morning like I usually do. But let me just cover this now. So today, Mercury is at 29 degrees of Taurus. So we have this Mercury retrograde starting off at 26 degrees of Taurus, which is communication through the body. It's like our ability to know things through our senses and being able to really like one of the teachers that I had for my priestess initiation, what she would talk about was like, as we're receiving information, reading a book, taking a class, or doing even listening to podcasts, that when there's something that we want to really get it in our body to like jump, or we would have like dance breaks where we would just like move our bodies around to like really bring that into the body, bringing the information from the head all the way down into the body. So, with Mercury going back into Taurus during the Mercury retrograde cycle, it's like What has been gathered, it's more like a recollection or a recollecting of information. What have you recollected, remembered? Through Mercury going into Gemini, it's like lots of information that is sort of like synaptic that maybe you couldn't absorb at the time. Now, as Mercury goes back into Taurus, there is an embodied feeling. One day I want you to discuss fear. Oh, we might a little bit today when we look at these two people's charts because something, sorry, I'm reading my here. I want to touch on what you're saying. I should just wait till I finish my topic. But so I'm over here with Mercury retrograde, and let me post it over there and say that because what's happening in that Johnny Depp Amber Heard saga is that both of them have Venus at around 25 degrees of Taurus, which was impacted by that Scorpio eclipse. And there is a lot of fear and trauma and past traumas that they were both like, it's like childhood fears and traumas coming up around the safety of their physical bodies with Venus. This is bringing up our own, because as this is being, I'm still over here holding Mercury in Taurus, I've got it pinned. As we are witnessing this saga on TV about these two people, for me, it is bringing up history. Oh, don't ever be sorry, Irene. I'm this is what I do. I jump around and I'm really good at tracking. I won't forget where we're at. So bring it in, bring it on. And I really do want to talk about this. So it's not even off topic. But that it really has brought up a lot of our own bodily sovereignty, our sense of safety in our physical bodies, and how, because Venus being right at that 25-degree Taurus area for both of these two people, and that eclipse running right over that area, it brings up that question of, am I safe in my physical body? Especially in relation to physical intimacy and everything that I say and do, will it be brought against me someday? Okay, so we'll get back to that when we look at their charts. And so over here with Gemini, Mercury going into Gemini, now back at that 29-degree point today, actually, 29-degree point of Taurus. So, as you may or may not know, these 29-degree points, a lot of people think about this as the cusp. They're like, oh, I was born on the cusp. Like if you're at 0 or 29 degrees. Well, from what I've learned in shamanic astrology is that there's the way I understand it and the way I was taught, I get what people are saying about the cusp, that it could include both of those topics of, is it Sag or is it Scorpio? Is it Gemini? Is it Taurus? But really, it's really just if it's at 0 degrees of Gemini, it's Gemini. If it's at 29 degrees Taurus, it's Taurus. And it really is 29-degree point is a culmination of whatever that sign is. So with Gemini today at 29 degrees Taurus, it's like really the culmination of our body's wisdom, what we know in our body. What we know in our body, we sometimes try to avoid. We sometimes try to act like we don't know it, because the things that we know, if I know something by my body, means I might not have an intellectual understanding of why my body knows what it knows. But if I state, okay, yes, I know this, and I'm like, I will not abandon you. This is what I hold my body and I feel you. Okay, I get a cramp in my stomach when I'm next to this person. If I know what I know, and I hold myself and I say, I will not abandon you to my own body, then that means I'm going to have to, something's got to happen with this person who's sitting next to me, who I get a stomach cramp every time I'm around them. And for us to honor the wisdom of our body often means that there's some action that we have to take that we may not be ready intellectually. We don't, because we don't know what's going to happen. But with that Taurus, 29 degrees, Mercury being retrograde at 29 degrees Taurus, ask yourself this question: what do I know in my body that I can no longer abandon? Write that down and then maybe journal on that a little bit, because we all have some wisdom in our body that we do abandon every single day. Like if I don't want to go to my job, it's not the fact for me. It's not the case for me at all, but it's something that I hear a lot. Relationships and work. So many people don't really want to do it. There's wisdom in their body that's telling them this isn't really the best, but they just keep doing it anyway because they're afraid of what could happen if they don't do it. Oh, that was another thing that, okay, never mind. Let me just stay on track here. Okay, so I got Chiron 28 degrees Taurus. Okay, so your Chiron, Irene, is now, as Mercury goes back over that 28-degree mark of Taurus, your Chiron material could be stirred up a little bit. And it's like a memory of what happened, or, Chiron being the wound, which ultimately is our biggest gift. I love Chiron, and man, I can just say so much about that. But just a sum up is like, what is your mortal wounding, which also is your greatest gift? Things that you may feel completely insecure about, that you don't want to talk about, that you don't, you've had hard times with that material, and it's probably would be related to physical security, financial abundance, just the basic earth topics of grounded nervous system, a sense of physical safety, being able to receive physical intimacy, pleasure, having sense-based relationships, and then having Chiron at that 28-degree mark. As Mercury comes over that, these things will be brought up. And when it's brought up, it's an opportunity to see what are the gifts of these things that have been so challenging. All right. So also, as Mercury goes back through, so we're going to have Mercury retrograding back to that 26-degree mark, which is where the shadow phase started. So it goes all the way back to 26. As we're experiencing that backward travel, Mercury is going to be making a harmonious aspect with Pluto, who's also retrograde right now. So it's close today, it'll be even closer tomorrow. So there is a beneficial composting that's happening, where we get a chance to see, what is it that I know in my body? What are the truths that the body wisdom that I have? What is it in my body that I no longer need? And there could, because that's the Pluto, that harmonious aspect with Pluto says some of these things that you know in your body can cease to exist. I had a session at the beginning of April where the practitioner I was working with said this to me: some of the codes in your DNA don't need to be updated. It's kind of like when your Windows gets updated, there's some things that they're obsolete now. And I just broke down crying, because there's a pattern in there that has to do with like colonialism and like the European ancestry that's in me and the feelings that I have in relationship to that whole process of what we all have collectively experienced with loss of connection to our ancestral wisdom, that bothers me a lot. And when she said that, I was like, oh, wow, there's so much of these codes in our genetics that are obsolete, programming that was part of a system that's outdated. So there are some things, and with this Pluto aspect to Mercury, it's a harmonious 120-degree aspect to Mercury. Some of that information can be permanently composted. Okay, so that is a harmonious, and also again, these are happening at the end of that. They're near that 28, 29-degree mark is a very powerful place because it's the end. Wherever there's an end, there is a digestion happening where we take the most beneficial things and we are able to compost the rest, take that information that is coming with us. It's like if you're going to take a trip, okay, when I was moving to India, I had my two small children. They were 2 and 3 at the time. I was like, okay, guys, here's your backpacks. Take 2 of your favorite toys, 2 of your favorite shirts, and 2 of your favorite pants. So you have all this stuff. You've got to just pick your very favorite things. That's what you're taking with you. That's what this 28, 29-degree mark of the signs is like. It's like where we get to pick and then we move forward into the next sign, and we really have a chance to go ahead and take stuff to Goodwill, give things away. It's so relieving to actually let go, not release, but like really just to give away and let go of some of these things that we have in our codes. That's Mercury. A Mercury word is our information codes or information coded into our genetics, into our DNA. And we also have today Vesta at 29 degrees, making a challenging alignment with Mercury. So this is the challenging 90 degrees challenge us, give us an information, something that makes us feel uncomfortable. Oh, hello, Jen. Great to see you too. I'm happy to hear. I mean, just to see your face feels really good. And is it really late? It's already 4:30. My goodness. We're still on today. Maybe I should move on. Uh yeah, this is a brief thing with this Mercury being at a 90-degree angle to Vesta. So this today is pretty much just today. We could be remembering something in relation to what is your sacred work and what's something that you need to do today. This seems like picking up a tool. Like today I went out and picked up my shovel, and I meant to just go do the thing I do with a compost, which is basically dig a hole, bury the new compost, and then just that's pretty much all I was going to do. But suddenly I was like, oh, you know what? I should grab some of this other soil and move it around my yard. But pretty soon I was like knee deep in a project of moving piles of worms and piles of like new composted soil into different areas of my yard. And that kind of to me feels like the Vesta being at a 90-degree angle to Mercury, where we have this moment of almost it's an irritation, that a friction that causes us to get into action. It puts us into action, and Vesta is like the sister. So it's related to our connection with the earth, with the medicine, with the plants, with the animals. And there's something about you that is your sacred work, that there's something about you that with this Mercury being at a 90-degree angle to Vesta is getting you like interested in what is it that I really need to do. Of course, we are all hearing and feeling the impact of inflation. I heard that it's gonna be $5 to buy an apple by the end of the year. So when I'm at the grocery store, I'm like, "Wow, what out of all these things I see in the grocery store, what do I need? What can I grow? What can I make? What can I acquire by other means rather than coming to this grocery store?" This is kind of like that Vesta 90-degree angle with Mercury. We're getting a new impetus of thought around what exactly does it mean to be a human? What do I need? And what can I there's a this sister energy of Vesta, which is like really in the dirt and wanting to do work to provide a service, or I can't get away from the sacred work of Vesta. So that might be coming up today. So you want to definitely answer that call and answer those questions for yourself. And let's move on. So let's go to Thursday, actually. So that's Monday. On Thursday, the 26th of May, I just skipped right over the whole topic of this video, which is, oh no, I didn't. The whole topic of this video is Mars going, I cannot believe myself sometimes, but hey, it's all good. Let's go ahead and talk about that. So thank you. I can relate. I can't stop planting. Yeah, planting is really the future right now. Like planting is really the future. That's what we really need to be doing, is like growing our own food. I mean, that's already definitely substantiated. Okay, so Jupiter is beneficial. Jupiter is jovial, lucky. Jupiter relates to our philosophies, long distance travel. Jupiter also relates to religion and spirituality. In India, Jupiter is known as the guru, which is your inner lamp. So when you are lit, it's like your inner lamp is lit. You are more attractive in the sense of not attractive like a Venus type of attractive. Venus attraction is more like where we are able to like draw things into us by our sense of self-worth and our sense of longing and what we desire, what we want to pull in. Jupiter attraction is more like that big bodied person. They may be tall, they may be bigger boned, like thick. And they have this like light of the party. I was gonna say life. I think the term is life of the party, but they have this light that you want to be near because they're so engaging with the world. So Jupiter is also known, I call Jupiter the good king. Is that, yes, it's charisma. Jupiter definitely carries a charisma with it, which is what attracts the good luck and what's the good fortune. I have a lady that I'm thinking of. She, I believe, is a Taurus person, but her business is called Good Fortune Gems. She's thick. She's like very goddess like, tall. She has a big, strong voice, very her. And she is very lucky. People give her like cars and like $4,000 crystals. Like she is very lucky. So I don't know her chart. I should ask her, but anyway, so where Jupiter is on your chart generally is where you will have more optimism, where you will be more charismatic. I have Jupiter in my third house, and I am very much a storyteller. I withhold that. I think I have a few videos on this channel where I go into like full on, let me tell you about the time I gave birth at home by myself. And I have loads of those big, huge, epic stories that are almost unbelievable because it's just it's too much. You're like, no, no way. And I'm like, no, really. And here's the picture of the time I got married in Thailand to somebody, whatever. It's just like so bizarre. Third house, Jupiter. So where you have Jupiter, it expands. Jupiter expands whatever it touches. So there's that. And with that expansion comes this big movement of it, like reminds me of like a stampede of horses. As Jupiter moves into Aries, it's like this stampede of horses running. Okay, let's bring it back. Jupiter just made that conjunction with Neptune in Pisces. Jupiter has been in the sign of Pisces. So Jupiter dipped into Pisces during 2021, went back into Aquarius, and then back into Pisces. Now we got through Jupiter going into Aries. We're going to have Jupiter going all the way up to 9 degrees of Aries. So whatever you have on your chart between 0 and 9, this is a very, very initiatory part of your chart, meaning that whatever was taking place for you in those Pisces areas, which we've had a lot related to our values with Venus going through there, our desire, our ability to move our body in the direction that we want to go. That's Mars in Pisces. A lot has been happening with Venus and Mars together in Pisces. There's a lot of Pisces stuff that's been happening. So also Jupiter and Neptune at that, once in a lifetime experience that we had, our visions, our dreams, the seeds that we're planting, which we may not be able to harvest fruit in this lifetime, but yet, I don't think I finished that sentence earlier with that shamanic practitioner I used to study with. She was like, you still have to plant those seeds. The oak tree may not grow for you. You may never see the fruits of the seeds that you're planting, yet you still must plant them. So, with that Neptune conjunction, what are those seeds that you must plant? Now, you plant the seeds. I like to physically plant them. And what my grandmother taught me is that anytime you're going to plant a seed, you put the seed on your tongue. You get your own genetic material onto the seed. You say a prayer, and then you put the seed in the earth, and that's you're surrendering yourself into the earth. Now you can also take it to the next level, planting the seed of your intention into the earth, and with full trust, because we have that Neptune Pisces thing happening, that we can put it there with full trust. And while you may never see the fruit, you still do the work, you still water it every single day, you still give it attention, you think about it even. You even think you're sending your attention is still there. The other thing that's coming up right now is that what makes us quiver? What makes us quiver? Meaning that the thing that we, it's just, it makes you like, you see this, what I'm doing with my body? You surrender, you soften into that vision and that dream that you really feel it in your body. Then when you put that into the earth, there's some of you there, and you attend to it, you water it. It may grow, it may not. You still got to do it. Now, as you've done that work, and you still are every day feeding it with your thoughts, you're feeding that, basically feeding the spirits of that dream, of the earth, feeding the spirits of the earth, feeding the spirits of your dream, you're feeding the spirits. Then now Jupiter in Aries gives us that ability to really take action, move forward, even though it may not be producing. We don't give up, we keep going. And whatever is energy is generated from us going will continue to feed those seeds that are planted. Because whatever is planted in your internal water, your own dreams, your own visions, they are too receiving energy. Okay, so now we see Mars coming in and making a conjunction with that is happening on Sunday. Mars goes into Pisces tomorrow, the 24th, 25th, 24th. Then by Sunday, Mars and Jupiter have their conjunction, and the moon is nearby at the time. So, like I said before, when the moon comes to the planets, it really, we feel it more because that moon is transmitting the information of the other planets straight into our water, into our bodies. So, although Jupiter has been in Aries for maybe a week or two, maybe I don't remember right now when it went in, but we may not have really been feeling it to the extent which we will as soon as the moon makes its first conjunction with that. And it just so happens to be the same time that Mars makes conjunction. So there is this like stampede of energy moving us forward, generating a lot of energy, a lot of heat, a lot of passion, a lot of aggression might also be coming in. So, what I want to say about that is aggression, anger, where is the line for you where passion, like that passionate energy that really gets your cheeks flush, where does that passion draw the line edging on anger? Where does that passion draw the line edging on rage? So you want to find that sweet spot and definitely feel your passion and definitely notice when it moves into the crossing the line and learn your body because you're the one driving this thing. You're the one that needs to be able to know your edges, know your lines, know your boundaries. Boundaries is going to be a very important word as Mars enters into Aries. Aries is Mars's sign, meaning that Aries is the zodiac that is most like the energy of Aries. So the planet is the force. The planet is like that active, like the verb. And then the sign is like the adverb, the way in which that planetary force is is doing its thing. So Aries is the adverb is actively, fiery. It has to do with being very passionate and don't get okay. Act first, think later. The thing is, when we have Mars in Aries, I do agree with this. Act first because there is an instinctual energy with Mars and Aries. We can always course correct later, meaning that we just make the mistakes, be stumble and be it's like a little 2-year-old who is actually 2 years old is when we have our first Mars return and we feel that energy of wanting to direct our will, or I would like to say it like this, penetrate reality with our personal will. So we need to do that. And then if we mess up or it's messy or sloppy or whatever, we can always come back later and like redirect the energy. We can always apologize where we may have said the wrong thing or did it the wrong way. We can say sorry later and meaningfully say sorry, of course. Let me read some of these. Mars and Aries, let's go. Yes, definitely. I really needed to hear this. You have no clue. I wonder what that was, Irene. Passion and anger bleed together for me. Not good for making friends. Okay, let's talk about that. That's very seriously. As Mars goes into Aries, we might, what's the word? Pop off. We might say things that are very fast and instinctual, like you feel the passion, you feel the fire in your eye. Like for me, my eyes like feel like I get blinded by my own. It's very tempered by now. It's very much more tempered by now. But earlier in life, my eyes, I would like literally see red because all the energy would just rush to my head and like shoot out through my eyes. And it's actually a technique that I've taught my daughter to scare people because, that saying, shooting darts from your eyes, that's a real thing. So Aries is the head, and Mars is that energy of the eyes. Has to do with, this is in Ayurveda, it's the fire of our intellect, that we're able to connect with things visually. That's why they say a lot of times that men are visual. It's that the intellect goes out through the eyes, sees the thing, brings the information back in, and then we're able to feel in our body, which is the Venus function. But the eyes, so you might want to be looking out too for where you might have, I've been seeing it in people, in clients, like their eyes starting to get red, or pain, irritation in the eyes. You might want to be looking for that. My intellect like a sword. Okay, let's go back up to these. Passion and anger bleed together. Not good for. Okay, that's where we were. Okay, so let's see if we can have conversations with our friends and with people who we are talking to this week, especially as we make that first initiation of Mars into Aries, where we can communicate about that. I'm feeling whatever it is, I am feeling really excited. Sometimes my excitement comes off as it can be very like you're getting electrocuted when you stand next to me. It's very overwhelming, that level of like, and it grabs you, even though I'm not grabbing you. The energy can be very grabby. So let's have a conversation about that. And also just being aware of our, because I am the mother of a child with a sun at 0 degrees Aries. That's my daughter, Jasmine. You all from the Telegram group probably know her because I'm always sharing her art. Um, okay, so he has this very intense 0 degree Aries energy that it's always been on my mind to like, don't put her fire out. And I also don't want to put the fire of other people out. So when somebody is doing that whole 0 degree Aries thing, my job is to recognize, notice, and then be able to like translate what's happening into a way that feels better for me. And then if I need to, if we're going to go deeper in this relationship beyond just the moment that we're sharing, I have to have a conversation with this person and let them know how I am interpreting their energy. So the conversation piece for that, I really recommend nonviolent communication. Now, nonviolent communication sounds very antithetical to Mars going into Aries. I want to also just point out that our physical bodies, like the word violence, that is an Aries word. It is a Mars word. Sorry, it's a Mars word. So where our movements can be, there's a competition involved with Mars going into Aries. So the competitive movements, you see somebody when they walk and they're like kind of like punching the air and their body is like a knife cutting through the air. It's that, so don't worry, it'll be fine. We're going to notice this stuff coming up, and then we're going to use our ability to communicate and express what we need to say, keep ourselves safe. Planet verb. Yes, had to write. Okay, cool. Yes, the planet is like that action. And then the sign is like an adverb. Then the house is where in life that action is happening. I wield my intellect like a sword. I wish I knew where your Mercury was with that comment. Justin, I wield my intellect like a sword. That maybe would be a Mercury in Aries. I know I was born with Mercury in Aries, and I think you were born near me. So we might have a similar thing there. So back to this 0 to 9 degrees. That's right where my Mercury is. That, so Justin is saying here, he wields his intellect like a sword. To me, that sounds like a Mercury in the sign of Aries. So go look at your chart, see what planets that you have between 0 and 9, because this is the area of your life. That house position is the area of your life in which the verb, the planetary force of Mars, will be making the biggest impact. That movement of Mars into that 0 degree area of your chart, plus Jupiter's already there. So there is going to be a bigger expansion of this Mars presence in this area of your chart. So see where that's at, see what other planets are being aspected. So aspected means that you might have a planet in that section of your chart between 0 and 9 degrees of Aries. You may have between 0 and 9 degrees Aries. You may have like a 90-degree square. You may have an opposition to something straight away in Libra. So you're going to be looking at the cardinal signs. The cardinal cross is Aries is the eastern direction, what's rising. This has to do with an energy that is like a phoenix rising from the ashes, where we just went through Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, that whole process of wintering. Now, Aries is where we rise up. So it has this very bursting out energy. So you want to look what's there. And then that was the next 90-degree angle would be, you're going to look up to what's on the midheaven. Oh, sorry. I'm looking at the Grand Cross in my mind, but it's not necessarily the midheaven. It's just going to be, what do you have in Cancer and Capricorn? And then what do you have in Libra? This is that cardinal cross. Jupiter and Mars in Aries at these early degrees will impact that whole cardinal cross. So you want to see what you have there. Mercury in Pisces. Mars conjunct the sun. Wow. So that means, if it's conjunct, that means that when you were born, Mars was what we call the underworld, meaning that Mars in the underworld it's a phase in the Mars synodic cycle where Mars is not visible. So if you were born in a shamanic culture where they were very connected to the sky and earth, when you were born, Mars would not be visible. They will call this an underworld Mars. I mean, call it whatever, whatever language or terminology is used. But basically what that means is that when you were born, Mars was in the process of being what you call like a death by intent, being in the heart of the sun. When it's Mercury, I think it's called a cazimi every time there's any planet in the heart of the sun, meaning that wisdom of the planet is really infused with the sun being that overall style and flair. So whatever planets that you have, if they're conjunct the sun, it bursts through that information through everything that you do. Irene. Okay, then Venus and Mercury both in Pisces, Sun and Mars in Aries. You don't know what house. I don't have your chart memorized. I wish I did, but Sarah says Saturn and Vesta at 14 plus 17 in Aries. Okay, so what you're saying here, Sarah, is that on your chart, you have Saturn and Vesta around that 14 to 17 degrees is that mid area. So you will have Mars coming through and touching this part of your chart very soon. But Jupiter won't come back to this part until that's going to be after the new year that Jupiter will make way into this later degrees of Aries. That's going to be after the end of the year. Jennifer, hello. I'm glad to catch you live streaming. I saw you on. Oh, hello. Oh, yeah, I remember you. Great. I need to get Eric over here. We'll probably do that for this lunation cycle for Gemini. Irene, so amazing with that info. Underworld, yes, that you know what? The synodic cycles really change everything for you. When you get to, oh, that reminds me, we got to talk about Venus. I have notes today. We're going to talk about Venus because the synodic cycles, like when you start to learn your astrology chart, the first thing I like to teach people, where was the moon? What phase of the moon were you born into? Because this moon information it's everything. It really is everything. It's our first connection to the cosmos. Then, of course, the sun, the rising sign, you're going to learn those things first. But when you get into learning what phase in the synodic cycle that those inner planets were in, it really changes your whole vision of yourself. Really deep information there with the synodic cycles. Okay. Sarah. Okay, so let's talk about Venus. Oh my goodness. I hope I get to talk about these two people. I will, no matter what. Oh, thank you. I love when you tell me that you love the way I explain things because I know that a lot of astrology is very confusing. And as soon as I say Venus, I feel like 80% of people in my life are just like, it's astrology. I don't know what that means. But I'm like, but wait, you know about your values and you know what you are attracting. You know about the Venus system of your body, the veins, and you know about flow. So let's talk about that. And then you can also relate it into the astrology. Oh, thank you so much, Irene. Thank you. I really appreciate you. I'm hoping that we can riff sometime on moon topics because you kept bringing that up. And I was like, oh, I feel you. I really feel you on that. Okay, so let's look at what day is that? I believe it was the 28th. Okay, so Venus is in the overtone of Capricorn. If you remember back to December, when we had that Venus retrograde, Venus hit Pluto like 3 times during the retrograde cycle. And then 7 days after retrograde, then Venus was with the sun. So we didn't see Venus for 7 days. That's what I was mentioning with you, Irene, that you were born with Mars with the sun means that Mars was invisible. So going back to 2021, December, Venus was invisible, not visible in either morning or evening sky. 7 days. And then as Venus rose in the morning sky, 7 days after the last sighting, this was the beginning of the synodic cycle, and it was in the sign of Capricorn, telling us that the 584-day cycle of Venus has a overtone of the Capricorn mysteries, which have to do with the feminine energy as it is expressed through the elder wisdom, through the circle of grandmothers, through our ancestral lines of knowing things through our body, through our, I always go back to like, why is my hair like this? Why are my cheekbones like this? Why is my jaw and my teeth? Okay, so the bones, the structure of our physical body is the way our ancestors live on through us. So Capricorn is our ancestors, that circle of grandmothers who hold the wisdom in our bones, in our blood. So Venus having this 584-day cycle with that Capricorn overtone means that everything that Venus as it is expressed through us, Venus as above, so below, as within, so without. And the way one of my teachers, she always says this: we inform the mysteries as much as the mysteries inform us. So it's a two-way conversation. It's not that the planets out there are doing something and we're just over here like, oh, Johnny Depp and Amber, it's not like that. It's like, as things are playing out in our decisions and our choices and things that we're doing, it's a two-way conversation. So as we grow and evolve and change, the planetary stories, the mythologies, the planets themselves are also evolving and changing. That is why I cannot go into my star and constellation book and read about Algol and be like, oh, beheading. And then think that because the eclipses were happening at that around that same degree that somebody's going to be beheaded. It's not like that. That's like from an Arabic time from however many years ago. So it's a constant evolution that's happening. That is why it is very important for us to go out, lay our eyes on the sky, and receive the codes of light into our eyes. And as we look up at the sky and receive the light into our eyes, we receive the information in our body. We take different actions and we respond. And now, the next time I look, my information is because they're also receiving us. This idea that we're gazing at the stars, they're gazing back. What we're deciding to do collectively and individually is also being reflected back. So, okay. So I got really sidetracked. So let me come back down. So we are always going to be in a two-way conversation. And I think we were talking about Venus in Capricorn. And so everything that's happening during this Venus cycle is going to keep on coming back to the wisdom of our ancestors. And how are we going to respond? There's something that Eric, Tailored to You Astrology, said that I usually would say my ability to respond. This is a Saturn concept. Saturn is the planet that's most like Capricorn. What Eric said was respond to your abilities. And that I've been carrying that and sitting with that and repeating that to myself so much during the eclipse cycle when we were working so much together and putting videos together. Respond to your abilities. So as Venus is in this overtone of Capricorn, that is a real affirmation of Venus and Capricorn. Respond to your abilities as if you were sitting in the circle of grandmothers. What is your ability? Are you responding to that? Are you sharing that in the circle? Because we are the ancestors of the future. I'm not going to read those yet because I want to go ahead and talk about Venus. So, Venus, every time Venus makes a conjunction with the moon, this happens, I want to say 8 times. Venus will disappear, and that's going to be in the glare of the sun. 7 days later, Venus will rise again. Venus will have 7 or 8 more of those conjunctions with the moon. So every time Venus and moon come together, it marks a crucial point in the Venus cycle. And it co-responds with the myth of Inanna. This is Sumerian myth of Inanna descending into the underworld. So I'm not going to talk about that whole myth right now, but basically, every time Moon and Venus come together, it's a layer. So right now we're in the descent phase. Venus rose in the morning sky in Capricorn. Now, every time Moon and Venus come together, we remove one piece of a protective layer that has been a way that we have been engaging sensually with the world through our senses. So I want to say it's on Thursday, but let me see. I wrote down Venus at the fifth gate at 28 degrees of Aries. I just don't remember what day that is. So maybe I have it right here. Venus. Oh, so that would be Friday, actually. Or is it Thursday? Oh, no, it's Thursday. Okay. So on Thursday, we will have, and it's going to be visible. We can see in the morning sky Venus and the moon conjunct. This is going to be at the fifth, well, they call it the fifth portal. And where is that in our body? It's our navel, or what you might call solar plexus, and it relating with ways that we have used our power. So putting aside the idea of what's happening with the Roe versus Wade and the issues that are coming up so much right now for women, for feminine identified people, there's a lot because we have also Pluto involved by, I would think, let's see, Aries, by a 90-degree angle. Venus is making a 90-degree angle with Pluto. Is that the same? That is at the same time. Wow. So that's Thursday, the 26th of May, when Venus and Moon make their conjunction at the fifth portal, which happens to be the solar plexus in the Inanna myth. It has to do with our ability to control the situations in our lives, ability to assert our power. The word dominance is coming up. That is going to be, that's where the Venus moon conjunction is happening. So at this point, we are able to lay down, to take off. So in the Inanna myth, she removes a garment at every Venus moon conjunction to humble herself, to enter into the underworld. So we are removing something from our solar plexus. If you don't know where the solar plexus is, it's so easy to find. I struggled so hard for so many years with anxiety. I took medication for 2 years for anxiety and panic disorder. When I have anxiety, when I feel anxiety, it's right there in the solar plexus, and I'll actually have contractions in that area. So if you remember in CPR class, we like go right into that xiphoid, just a little bit below the xiphoid process. Well, your solar plexus would be where your rib cage meets. Even just touching it, it's like, oh God. So that area in my body, I feel it sort of walled off a little bit, like it's tight. Like it's an area that is I must have like groomed myself to continually have a little barrier there. So this will be taken off. I have a little massage. I'll share that in another video, maybe on Thursday, actually. Maybe I'll jump back on here on Thursday and show a technique to help soften that diaphragm area with massage and with breath. And we're going to get super relaxed, and we're going to release the armor around the solar plexus. Okay, so it is happening at a pretty close. And the following day, which will be Friday, Venus Day, it will be in an exact 90-degree angle with Pluto. So that 90-degree aspect to Pluto is challenging us, it's irritating us, and it's for the purpose of helping us to compost and devour. I was going to say dissolve, but it's not a dissolving, it's a devouring of whatever it is that, what am I tightening up against? What is it that I'm trying to build a barricade to protect myself from with that solar plexus area? What is it that makes me feel unsafe to assert myself? These are some questions that you want to be asking during the end part of the week when Venus goes into that 90-degree aspect with Pluto. Receptivity, that's a Venus concept, being able to be receptive. To be receptive, we have to be soft and permeable. So what is it? And there's a vulnerability with this, that like, if I'm soft, if I'm receptive, will I be stabbed in the, right in the belly for being soft? So there's some good things. I can see the word Persephone in the chat box. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm going to come up there in just a second. Thank you so much for all this. I love it to be able to hear all of you here in the chat box. Oh, wow. There's a lot. So yeah, you know what, on Thursday, I'll schedule it tonight. So Thursday we'll get back on here and we'll go through a process from Tantra yoga to get really into the body, get into a receptive mode, and it'll be a safe place for you to do that. And safety has been coming up a lot. Like, what really is safety? Okay, let's see. Irene, I remember about happy birthday. Okay, so I'm going to be shifting trauma. Shifting trauma. Okay, that reminds me, we need to look at these Johnny Depp and Amber Heard charts. Let's end on that. I'm definitely gonna show you guys just couple of things that I noticed at first glance with their charts. Grandmother's been, oh yeah, I read that. Is that descent into the, Persephone. Okay, so it's not similar to Persephone. It is similar, but in the Persephone story, she was abducted by the Lord of the Underworld. And then the question is always like, well, during the abduction, was there some way that she maybe wanted to be the queen of the underworld? And like, that Persephone story is different in the sense that Inanna relates perfectly to the phases of Venus and the moon. And in this Inanna story, she actually wants to go into the underworld to visit her sister, who is the queen of the underworld. Could it be Persephone? No, I don't think so. But her sister, I think her name is Erishkigal, and she wants to visit her because her sister's husband has died and her sister is grieving. So she wants to come into the underworld, and she has to remove her crown, then her necklace, neck piece, then her armor around her heart, and then there's a girdle, there's a staff, there's the coat. It's just every time the moon comes, that meeting with the moon, she removes another garment. So as she's going down, it's a choice to go down and a choice to humble herself by lowering herself closer to the earth. Humility, humility. So lowering oneself. So yeah, it's a little bit different. There's also so many things that happen in that underworld descent that really relate a lot to women's lives specifically. And also, there's aspects in that story that relate no matter if you are woman or man, because we all have feminine and masculine aspects to us. Okay. Okay, yeah, that was so Persephone and Hades, that story goes together. I believe she was given an ultimatum of yes, half the year in the underworld, half the year with her mother. So that was because her mother, Ceres, or there's another name, not Ceres, it's another name. It's slipping my mind right now. But in the astrology, we use Ceres as the mother who goes and makes this compromise where Persephone will be in the underworld during winter and she'll come up at spring and be up in the middle world. Middle world is here on earth. I theorize. There you go. My old one of my old he's not my I didn't pay him for mentorship, but he used to come in and get a massage every week. His name was Paul Stein. He doesn't like when I use his name, but anyway. He's like probably 85 by now. He used to always tell me to never have a belief, but to have theories, because a belief was something frozen in time that was stagnant, and a theory was something that we could be flexible. We would learn more. We would be more, that's a more Jupiterian, being able to be more expanded and keep growing and increasing the size of that theory and be ready to change it whenever there's new facts that come up. I wonder if I'm already feeling it. That was Nina Justice. She was abducted by Hades, then tricked into eating the pomegranate, which meant yeah. So once she ate the pomegranate, that was like the loophole. Is like if you, as long as you don't eat anything here, you don't belong here. As soon as you eat something from here, this is really an interesting thing because when you go to a place and you eat from that place, you're taking in the energy of that place. It becomes you. You become it. So this pomegranate thing was like, did you swallow it? Now that you did, it's part of you, you're part of it, and now you belong here. I remember you too. Been having stomach issues. My body usually reacts to plant. Me too. Definitely. My body definitely reacts to the shifts. Persephone is the queen of Hades. Oh, yes. Jupe has a good relationship with Persephone, as we all can have a relationship with these archetypes. It's really just about building. Like I built an altar here for the Jupiter Neptune conjunction because of that, wanting to have a relationship becoming more physical. You can do this with your dreams also, where you build that altar, even if it's just a small little space to hold the energy. And then you start to, like what I do when I tend to my altar every day, I see the things, I think about whatever is there, and I'm sharing energy with that thing. Going back to the pomegranate, and now it's like I've become you, you've become me, I'm feeding you, you're feeding me, and it's really a valuable way. Okay, here we go. I know it's hard to explain. The nadis, left side, right side from, yes, we are gonna really get into this with the Tantra yoga. I have a feminine trauma, mother wound, left side stays jacked up. I would love, yes, I'm going to. There's a lot to be covered on this whole thing with the physical body and the energy system. I have a friend who could really use that meditation massage over her. Sarah, is it me? I have a friend who could really use that meditation massage of her solar plexus. I didn't even realize. I think I get a little nervous when I come on here, and it's an automatic thing because I had this panic disorder for such a long time. I mean, it seemed like forever when it was happening, but a little, what do we call it, low level anxiety, and it's different for everybody. Like I've seen a lot of people have it more in this upper area of their chest, but for me it's more in my solar plexus. Okay, It's not you. We could totally all use the massage, definitely. Okay, so let's go ahead and have a little peek at these two charts. So I'm not going to be able to show you because I haven't got my technology super sexy yet. I don't even know if you, yeah, it does show a little bit. Let me dim us out, and then it'll show a little bit more. No, is this not working? It's not working at all. Okay, so let me just tell you. First of all, Johnny Depp is in his Saturn return, not the one that happens when we're youthful and young. What's your thoughts on birthmarks? I do have some thoughts on birthmarks. That really comes from Chinese medicine. And I'm not going to talk about that just right now. Let me get into this. That's a really great conversation. It does relate a lot to astrology, actually. Um, so okay, the Saturn return that happens, our next Saturn return. Okay, so I don't know what age group we are all in. Demographics tells me that the age group that most people are is not yet in their second Saturn return. So probably none of us are, but that's going to happen 56, 57, 58, something like this, which is where Johnny Depp is right now. He's in that Saturn return. That was the first thing that stood out to me. So, the second Saturn return is known as a jackpot time. It has a lot to do with where we gain prestige. And I found it to be very interesting how this is about him regaining his prestige. The way that the world views him was the main point of what he was saying. Like, I just don't want to be seen in the light I have been portrayed. So he's in that second Saturn return. He's like, let's make this right. Let me regain my status. The other thing is that I mentioned this in the beginning is that on his natal chart, his exact birth time was it was pretty close. They said that it was like 8:44 a.m. and it was the accuracy was at a high level of accuracy, meaning that most likely this is his correct birth time, which would put his Venus at 26 degrees of Taurus. As we know, this eclipse season that we are still in happened at 25 degrees of Taurus. So that means that in November of 2021, that eclipse that was in November was right over exact on his natal Venus. So this trial, there was something stirring that happened that set it in motion in November. And this will be eclipsing. It will be massively energizing his own internal Venus, which is the inner beloved that he wishes to connect with, which mostly people will try to connect with through partners. The funny thing is, this person who he married, first of all, let me just tell you, his birth year was 1963. Her birth year was 1986. And right away, I just want to smack him. Like, okay, I was born in 1979. That means that this person is like, she's she's a baby, you know? Has she's a baby. Um so no judgment on that except for I'm totally judging it. So like the status of the life phase that the person is in during their second Saturn return is like becoming the elder and marrying, whatever, let's not talk about that. So her birth was not known. It was not available. From what I didn't do a heavy research, just light research. So her natal Venus is at 25 degrees Taurus, just 1 degree away. So they have in their synastry chart, they both have basically the same placement for their Venus, which would say that they were both It's like what we're expecting, what we are drawing in, what we value, what we are attracted to. So with Venus and Taurus, it is high levels of luxury, high levels of status, a lot of beauty, a lot of aesthetic value in the, their own self, and also what they want from their partnership. So they're both looking for that. I find this to be a little bit challenging. Like if I meet somebody and I want to create some sensual experience with that person or sense-based relationship with that person, I find it to be challenging if we both have the same Venus placement. And the reason is I want to receive that. I want to receive what is in my, I want them to also like be amazed and look at me like I'm something fantastic and wonderful. Well, if they have the same exact Venus placement as me, they're kind of wanting me to like do that, what I want. You know what I'm saying? Like they want what I want. Then like who's getting what they want when we both want what the other one wants? It's not horrible, and ultimately like we need to be able to provide for ourselves what it is that we want to receive in some sort of a fashion, but I don't know. So anyhow, this eclipse season that we're in is also right on her natal Venus. So both of them, there is a huge gaining of finances and a huge loss of finances. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose, but either way, they're both losing status. They're both gaining status because all publicity is good publicity, from what I've heard. I didn't even know who the heck Amber Heard was, honestly. I watched Aquaman not like 5 times in the theater when it came out. I was like with my pen and paper and was like, "Oh, this is the Chiron figure. This is the archetype of Jupiter. The trainer, the person who was training Aquaman, okay, he's Jupiter. And then here's the Saturn figure. There was so much astrology in that movie that I couldn't get it all in one sitting while also admiring the manliness of Jason Momoa and taking my notes and learning what I needed to learn from the movie. So I watched it 5 times and I had no idea who Amber Heard was. So now I do. And I'm sure that I'm not the only one who didn't know who she was. And I had to even like yesterday, I was like, it just clicked yesterday where I was like, oh my God, that's the lady from Aquaman. I had no idea. So there is something happening with that eclipse season that is also increasing her value. While it may seem like, oh no, everyone's canceling her. Well, eventually the whole world will know about her. And maybe maybe she will get a lot of money. Maybe all her riches will be taken away. So those are 2 things. That's pretty much all I'm going to talk about from those charts. If people are interested, I will do their synastry reading for my channel. Not on a live video because I get so distracted on the lives, but I can definitely do a synastry reading for them if you guys are interested, just to see some of their other qualities. I don't know anything about them personally, so I was interested to see Johnny Depp's chart, just because I have been following him for a very long time. And there was a movie called, I think it was called something Window. I have it. I don't remember the name, something Window. And it was called a psychological. And I was like, you know what? Johnny Depp is a psychological thriller in himself, which led me to wonder about where Pisces was on his chart. He's got a Capricorn moon. Yeah, I definitely want to look at his chart. Her, I'm not that interested in just because she's a baby. Has she been in any other movies besides Aquaman? I don't even know. Okay, let me just read these comments here. We got the kidney birthmark. Okay, that's a different topic. I definitely do want to talk about that though in another video. We need info on birthmarks. Oh, you're interested in that too. Okay, we'll come back to that. Uh, yeah, me and my daughter both have a heart shaped birthmark in the same exact place on our back. And there is a whole bunch in Ayurveda and in Chinese medicine that talks about birthmarks and the area of the body that it's on that would tell us about a certain organ function. And as you know, the organs relate to the planets, so that there is this planetary force that's being expressed through the birthmark, that we can learn more about ourselves through that mark. And also there's some ideas that, oh my God, am I really going to talk about this right now? That in the womb, during our development and being built into a human, that those places that are markings that show up on the body, it's actually the organ itself that co-responds with that place on the body, that is marking, that it is presenting itself on the physical body to share information. Yes, can't wait to see what's going on in these charts. Okay, so you are interested. Okay, well, I'm interested because of the fact of astrology. I'm not interested so much in them. It makes me really like roll my eyes like this, like, God, why? Why do people care so much about this? And why is this happening? And why do we need to know that she like took a dump on their bed? Like, this is just too much. And then it really makes me think about stuff that I've done. Like, I would never want people to know. Although if I do further talk about them, I will tell you some embarrassing things. Like the time I cleaned the toilet with somebody's toothbrush when I was 18. So there's stuff like that. Like, why? So Pluto. That's very also that eclipse energy going through their Venus material. 79 was the best year. Also, older women are just better in every way. Okay. That's because we're the same age, Justin. Jupe, I like the way you think. Okay, Irene, hopefully you're in that 40, the 40s club. We had this conversation today. Oh, thank you. Yes, with the Venus, totally. It's like a feminine aspect I want to give and have. Okay, so yeah, you're feeling me on that too, Irene, with like when we both have a Venus placement that's the same. It's like, I want you to recognize and honor me for this. And you also want to be. So I dated somebody once that had his Venus in Aquarius. I have my Venus in Aquarius. So I get really, I need a lot of mental stimulation to, if you want to hold my attention at all, I really, you need to bring me something that blows my mind. Bring me information, feed me something that's going to expand my ability to mentally go somewhere. And this person this is a long time ago, dating somebody who had the same Venus. And I always felt like it was more like we were in competition for attention, where it's like we're trying to outsmart. It wasn't fun. It was not, I didn't like it. Secret Window. Yeah, that's it. The psychological thriller. Doesn't this kind of remind you a little bit of Secret Window? Depp is a big fan of psychedelics. Okay, it seems like he might need to lay off some of that psychedelics, and I don't know. Hunter Thomas interested in birthmarks. Okay, we're definitely going to have to talk more. You know who's, oh my gosh, you guys, my mentor, Seymour Coblin. He was my mentor for macrobiotics, for body reading, and a lot of the Chinese medicine things that I studied. Seymour is also practices Tai Chi. He's a Kung Fu master. He's amazing. We recently recorded an hour and a half class together on the movements of Chinese medicine as it relates to relationships. Really, really cannot wait to share this with you guys. And he's going back to Prague tomorrow. So he lives in Prague. He comes here and he works in both places. He has the International School of Healing Arts. We are going to be working together. So I will get him on here. And I think that's who we really want to have for this conversation about birthmarks, because he's the one who taught me about it. We're working together. We're working together mostly about relationships and how the 5 element theory relates. And there's something that's brewing with us that I'm not exactly sure where it's going to take us. Because I'm introducing Tantra yoga, sound vibration, moving the sound vibrations through our body, the chakra theory, and how it relates to the 4 directions. And so I think as we collaborate more and more, we're going to find more about what it is we're doing together. But he's the person that we're going to have to talk with about this, with the birthmarks. Cleaning a toilet with a toothbrush. Yeah, just being in the Navy. But this was before I joined the Navy, Justin. I was mad at my roommate, who happened to be a person I used to date in high school. And he was, I don't remember. It's not about him. It was just me being passive aggressive and being like, I'm going to do something really mean to you, but you'll never know about it. So yeah. Anyway, Venus Gemini. So Venus will actually be going into Taurus soon, very soon. Venus is going into Taurus and Mars in Aries. So this is last thing I'm going to mention. Mars in its own sign and Venus in its own sign. So this upcoming week is going to be very, very it's like feeling right. And I'm really looking forward to that. So all right. So I'm not sure who this Vlex is. I'm so sorry. I'm not going to talk about Venus in Gemini right now just because it's I'm sorry. Here, message me. I'll chat you a little bit. Actually, join the Telegram group. We'll chat a little bit about this. I don't want to leave you hanging, but I'm like, we've been on for so long. I love you too, Sarah. You're amazing. Thank you so much for this and sharing value. Yes, my pleasure. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much. I'll be back on Thursday. Just subscribe. Oh my God. Do you know that 80% of people who watch my channel are not subscribed? So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, like some of my videos, like leave comments or whatever. It really makes a huge difference for me. All right. So thank you again so much. I love you all, and I will see you again very, very soon.